to News from the Sound, a weekly cooperative effort between BCTV and the Sound Newspaper. I'm Nicole Ball, and this week we'll also be joined by Lieutenant Jeffrey Morgan of the Brantford Police Department, who will share some information about the upcoming Citizen Police Academy. Here are your highlights from the Sound's April 8th issue. Brantford's March 31st State of the Town proved pretty positive despite the economic doom and gloom of 2009. Demand for residential services and social services are up, but finance, public safety, and land use are all faring well. Find out the details of the meeting this week in the Sound or online at www.Zippo6.com. Ever think 7 pounds of cabbage would yield $1,000? For Tisco Elementary School student Laurel Medlin, that price sounds just about right. Medlin was recently named the state winner for the nationwide Bonnie Plants cabbage growing program. When Medlin was a third grader, she and about 2,400 students from 102 third grade classes all over America were given a cabbage seedling to nurture. After a summer of labor and love, Medlin's cabbage was selected from her class as the top veggie and later was Connecticut's winner, earning her $1,000 scholarship. www.Zippo6.com is connecting you with the Shoreline Greenway Trail through Brantford Trail volunteer Valerie Murray. Visit the blog section of Brantford's webpage to read Murray's blog, which will give you updates on trail progress, news on the opening of the trail system, and volunteer opportunities. The Sound's Person of the Week and Rider is the co-founder of the Brantford Refugee Welcoming Committee, which will soon bring its first family to Brantford to start a new life. Find out how this one-year-old club was started and what you can do to help this week in the Sound or online at www.Zippo6.com. An expansion at the Action Sports in Brantford is underway, and the business plans to open its bigger doors this May. Find out the details in this week's issue. Brantford Police will conduct a sobriety checkpoint on Route 1 this Sunday, April 11th, starting at 6 p.m. and running through 4 a.m. on Monday. In other police news, the department has announced its third annual Citizens Police Academy starting April 20th. The 2-hour, once-a-week session will last 10 weeks and culminate with a 4-hour ride-along in a police cruiser with an officer. The Sound Newspaper and www.Zippo6.com are looking for a citizen to attend the class and write a weekly account of the adventure. Those interested can contact Lieutenant Jeffrey Morgan at 203-315-3914. Earlier today, Lieutenant Morgan joined us for an interview to tell us a little bit about the Citizen Police Academy. Lieutenant Morgan, thank you for joining us today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the Citizen Police Academy?
I'd love to, Nicole, and thank you very much for having me on the show, and I'm glad that I'm your first guest. The Citizen Police Academy will begin on April 20th through June 29th. It's a 10-week academy where we invite our citizens to apply, and it's 2 hours a night. And we have some very, very interesting topics that we'll discuss during the 10-week time.
What are some of the things you guys will be discussing in the classroom?
We'll have some lecture from our officers, some things as simple as a history in policing, new ideas in technology, some constitutional law, domestic violence, those types of things. We'll discuss how we measure crime analysis and CompStat, and then we'll have a lot of great hands-on things that the people can get involved with also.
What are some hands-on things that you guys will offer?
I think that some of the most interesting stuff that they've found in the past are some of our use of force, where the students get a chance to understand what it's like to fire a weapon, be part of a firearm simulator if that's up and running, where they'll get to analyze a shoot and don't shoot situation, many of those split-second decisions that an officer needs to do every day. They'll also be involved and learn how to do some crime scene analysis. They'll also be able to, collect fingerprints and those types of things. Get a little bit of an understanding that real law enforcement is not what they see on television, and that not everything is solved within an hour.
Will you simulate a crime lab in the police department, or?
One of our detectives, Detective Will DeGorsey, will come in and show the class how to lift latent prints, how to analyze those prints, how we collect them, how we photograph them, and how we send them off for analysis now, whether the state lab or up to the FBI.
And now this is your third year doing this.
Absolutely, it's the third year, so we've made a few changes a little ways along the way with some of our curriculum, and I think people will be very interested.
And the culmination of everything is doing the ride-along?
Absolutely. And through the class during that time, we'll break out people and allow them to do a 4 or 6 hour block ride-along with one of the officers, and learn what it's like to see the world from inside a police car, and what the officers do every day.
And is there like a badge or a certificate that people earn at the end of this?
Well, there's no real certificate. It doesn't certify them to be a police officer. I think it's really one of those situations where it gives people a true understanding of what's going on in the law enforcement community, and particularly Branford, on a day-to-day basis.
So they could be vigilantes, kind of.
No, we're not looking for any vigilantes, but I think that people have they come away with a very good understanding of what law enforcement is doing as compared to what they really see on television.
Sure. And we at Zippo6 are actually looking for somebody to participate in your class and do a blog for Zippo6 in Branford's home webpage.
Absolutely. We haven't, our classroom is not full yet. We're going to have about 15 students, so I encourage anyone who's interested to please go to the Branford Police Department. If you're a Branford resident or business owner here in Branford and you want some understanding of what goes on in law enforcement in our community, please apply, pick up an application. And if you're interested in maybe blogging or doing some online reporting with Nicole through Zippo6, which is an online publication, please get in touch with me directly at my office at 203-315-3914, and we can work out those logistics also.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to have you back soon.
Absolutely. And thank you. Doing a very good job and good service for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now back to our regular news. In sports, the Branford girls ice hockey program is nearing varsity status after its second season, and other winter sports, including dance, boys hockey, and wrestling, are highlighted in this week's Sound and online at www.zippo6.com. The ubiquitous Courtney Schisler capped her Branford basketball career this year and earned an average of 23 points per game, and she's also the Sound's Sports Person of the Week. To read more highlights of her last season and her time as a Hornet, read this week's edition of the Sound or visit us online at www.zippo6.com. The Women and Family Life Center is piloting a new program, Girls Coach, Girls Run, which pairs high school juniors from Branford and other towns with area 4th grade girls to train for a 5-kilometer road race to be run this spring. The program begins April 19th and will be held in Branford from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at Sliney Elementary School on Mondays and Thursdays. 4th grade girls interested in participating in Girls Run should contact the WFLC at 203-458-6699. And this week in living, a small idea leads to a big success for Derek Diedrichson, a Madison native and a Stoughton, Massachusetts resident. He's recently self-published a book about building small homes and has created a video series on the subject as well. You can find out what it takes to make and live in a small home and see Diedrichson's video online at www.zippo6.com. Stony Creek Gallery at 152 Thimble Islands Road in Branford hosts an Earth Day art opening on Thursday, April 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. and features works inspired by nature. For more information, call the gallery at 203-208-1990 or visit www.stonycreekgallery.com. Living columns include the ever-eventful storyteller Lee White, who shares an interesting tale before offering a recipe for terrific halibut with capers and tomatoes, and Amy J. Berry tells why it's important to teach children about Holocaust Remembrance Day and Parents' Eye View. Also catch a review of the theater production No Child, now playing at the Long Wharf Theater, and a movie review of the quirky Hot Tub Time Machine. And this week online, community contributor Joe Brummer offers conflict management tips and Branford's blog section, and he's also presenting a free workshop on communicating compassionately in a world of conflict at the James Blackstone Memorial Library on April 11th from 1 to 4 p.m. And Dennis Culleton, who's a history teacher from Adams Middle School in Guilford, is traveling the road to Antietam. Find his blog on Zippo6.com, click on Guilford, and follow his 80.12-mile hike from Washington, D.C. to Sharpsburg, Virginia. That's it from News from the Sound this week. We'll see you next week.